Welcome back to the Always Aggressive podcast. I'm Cory Palm, that's Tanner Lipsett, and head coach Tony Ersland. On this week, as always, fellas, we are getting into the middle of the fall semester. Week 4 is just wrapping up here on campus. I know that means that some exciting times are just around the corner for Purdue wrestling, no doubt about it. First practice is less than a month away. The guys are hopefully taking care of business in the classroom and doing all the things that they need to do. The other thing that we've got to talk about, and we'll lead off with this, the schedule released this week from the Big Ten. We had the non-conference stuff. We had the early season tournaments. Now we know the rest of the deal. It's good to have it all in order. Know what you've got laying ahead, isn't it, Coach?
No, yeah, it's absolutely right. It just adds clarity to how you want to progress through the season, how and when you want to peak, right? When you need to be at your best, all of those things. So it's great to finally have the schedule in hand. There may be a few tweaks. There's some TV things I know that are still being looked at and that we want to work on as well. But yeah, we've got dates and we've got schools, and that's enough to keep us excited for now.
Absolutely. Always good to actually get those, especially for me. I gotta book flights and planes and trains and automobiles and all that fun stuff. But it's nice to see how it lays out and know when you're going to be home and know when you're going to be away, and not just from a wrestling perspective, from like a life perspective. You know what I mean?
Right.
We got to figure out when we're going to be gone, who's taking care of the kids, when they got soccer practice.
Yeah.
I mean,
I say my wife will be excited to know that you can update the calendar now for the next several months are going to be. She'll be excited about that as well.
It's like, all right, when's Tony going to be gone? We can have some peace around the house.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, I don't know. Peace and quiet, like it's relative. It might be peace and quiet when I'm gone, but when I get back, I got stuff to get off my chest, right? About how the trip went, how the guys wrestled. She's going to have to listen to all of that as well.
So let's get into some of the details of the Big Ten schedule. We will finish up the non-conference slate on December 30th up at Midlands. And then Big Ten season will kick off January 7th as we head on a relatively long and what will probably be a very tough road trip.
That is one hell of a road trip, guys.
Yep. Yeah, no, excited. I mean, and something for our viewers too, just so they understand, because it does look a little different. And I know Tanner put this in his release yesterday. This is the first year we went to divisions. Okay, so you're going to wrestle your 6 division foes. We're in the West, just like football, it's structured the same. We get those 6 division foes, and then we get 2 cross-divisional opponents. And you're going to see, obviously, we're going to always have Indiana, and then we've got that one other that rotates with us. So just so people know, as you look, you say, well, geez, it looks a little, lighter than years past. We went from the 9 traditional duels and what that rotation's been to this year we're in divisions, and you catch 2 division, cross-division opponents. So 8 total as you're looking at it, and that will be a little different for people who have paid attention for a number of years here. But Nebraska, my old stomping grounds, my kids were born there. We lived there for 8 years. So excited to be back there for both the dual as well as Big Tens down the road. It's going to be a lot of fun. As soon as this came out yesterday, I had some friends from Nebraska hit me up. Be good to see you back in town. Let's find time to connect. And so that's just, a lot of memories there. And I look forward to that trip, kicking off the Big Ten season at Nebraska. Be a lot of fun. Good test, right? Another good team. Been at near the top of the Big Ten the last few years as well. So look forward to that. And then obviously rolling into Iowa on Sunday. You're going to be, defending national champs, Big Ten champs, and we know what they are. So we get tough tests early, but I like that. It'll be a good test for our guys to see where we're at and how we need to kind of make some changes or work on some things as we work on finishing up towards Big Tens. The other thing I'd say that's notable that we really like is we're at home for the next 3 duels, right? Like we get that Michigan State, Illinois, and Wisconsin all at home. So we're at home for 20 days, and that'll be nice to wrestle in the friendly confines of Holloway. And before we hit a short road trip to Indiana, have Minnesota back at home, and then a short road trip to Northwestern. So really, Tanner, right? He's looking like we get past that first road trip, and it's a very travel-friendly schedule for him. Yeah, he's already. He's got to worry about this first road trip. But I really
got my feet up already, Tony. I've already relaxed.
But no, I do. I mean, and in all earnest, really tough tests early with good teams that we know very well. I really enjoy that and getting those guys early. And then we've got a chance, not that it lightens up from a difficulty standpoint, because you have good opponents all the way through, but our next double weekend is at home, 0 travel involved there. So, we're in the friendly confines for the weekend, and then it's just one duel, each weekend the rest of the way. So it gives you, from an overall perspective, you've got a chance to train, maybe to rest some people, you know what I mean? Get healthy if you're nicked up or whatever. And the fact that we do have a weekend off in between, which I've never had, since we've been scheduling, since we're down to 8 dates, we go from February 6th with Minnesota at home, and we skip a weekend. And by the way, that's Super Bowl weekend, which, Tanner was very pumped. He's never had a Super Bowl weekend off.
I don't think I've watched the Super Bowl in 15 years, guys. I'm not kidding.
There you go. He's used to be
some great games.
He's working on travel or typing up, kind of scores and wrap ups.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm on a bus, or I'm on a plane, or I'm something.
Right. But we will be at home on Super Bowl weekend. Give us a nice opportunity again. We'll be training and getting ready for the end of the year, as well as Northwestern. But to enjoy the Super Bowl and do some fun things as a team, presents a nice opportunity as well. So I just think overall, I'm really excited about the way the schedule shook out. It's trying some new things. You never know how it's going to go. And we were, pretty happy with the way it shook out overall.
Absolutely. Kind of skirting back to that first trip, Tony, and talking about, like you said, going back to your old stomping grounds. But in addition to that, it's going to it'll be a preview trip for us, because that's where Big Tens will be hosted this year.
Yep.
We did that. We had the same situation happen to us 2 years ago when we had a road trip to Rutgers during the regular season, and then went back to Rutgers for Big Tens.
Mm-hmm.
And even though that trip was a little, what's the word I want to use here? Tumultuous.
Yeah.
The first trip to Rutgers, we had to go to the hospital. We had to do a few things that were out of the ordinary. We had to do like the Home Alone dash to the airport to make our flight that night.
Well, yeah, we had to go see Bruner, just to remind everybody, right? Bruner dislocated his kneecap.
Mm-hmm.
We found him sitting in the hallway, waiting to see a doc. So it was true. We had to get Bruner seen by a doc, and then we made a mad dash to the airport to make our flight.
And what was even crazier too, so Corey, I don't know if you've even heard this whole story yet. So we get to the hospital, right? And we got the whole team going through the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
This pack is moving to the hospital. And this gentleman pulls me aside, and he's got a name tag on, but he's dressed very casually. He was in like a sweatshirt and jeans. Like he wasn't dressed professionally. And he starts asking me questions. He's like, what's going on? Who are you guys? Told him, Purdue Wrestling. One of our guys is in the hospital, dislocated his, he's hurt. I didn't know he dislocated his kneecap at that point, I don't think. Yep. But so the guy, I told him we're trying to get him seen. We don't know exactly what's happening. And so this guy ends up being like the head of security for the hospital. And he had Bruner in a room with a doctor in 5 minutes. Like it was bonkers. Like it was just like it was a random like kindness of strangers event.
Yeah.
Where like this guy, like he made sure like we went from being a weird group of dudes with funny ears, like, rolling through the hallways of a hospital to VIP treatment, like in minutes. So it was that was a pretty cool occasion that happened there out of a really bad situation. But regardless of that, I thought it helped us to have like a preview and a understanding of the area and the landscape of where Big Tens were going to be hosted once we got to Big Tens. Did you think this? Did you feel the same way, Tony, about how it all went down, or like what was your take on it?
No, I thought it was great, right? Not only do you get a preview of the landscape, what's going to work, how things are going to be run, like you get a lot of good information there. So your team's comfortable with what that situation is going to be. But we had great vibes too, right? Because we had won a tremendous duel, right? Came down to Parker at the end, and we won a big duel in the rack, which was a great environment, right? Big crowd, loud, noisy. So I think that was fun. You have good vibes. So when we came back, I think we were a very confident group, had a lot of fun in that building prior to the tournament, and it continued, right? We wrestled a very strong Big Ten tournament, finishing top 5 and 8 placers who all did very well. It was just a lot of good vibes there. And so, you look forward to the same thing at Nebraska. It'll be a little different though, right? We're going to wrestle in Devaney for the, at least that's the way, it looks like it's scheduled now. And then we'll go into Pinnacle downtown, for the tournament.
Sure.
So it'll still be a little different, but no, it never hurts to be in town and get a feel for what it's going to be later on, what to expect and how it's going to work.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking as well. So it's it'll be nice there. Some other highlights: the annual duel with Indiana, be January 29th down at their place. I really like their new facility. We've only been down there once. Is that right, Tony? Since they built it?
Yeah. We competed down there 2 years ago, I guess.
2 years ago. Yep.
Had a good win down there at that time as well. So yeah, it's another fun trip for us. I like that trip. Honestly, that's the only thing that I kind of didn't enjoy about the schedule is they got us kind of in the middle there. Albeit it's on a Saturday night, which is a much better time than where it's been. I would love to always kind of close out the season, with them. That's the one. I think that's a good in-state rivalry duel.
Sure.
For people. I'd like to see that towards the end sometimes rather than in the middle. But hey, they got us on a Saturday night, and that's great.
We will close up the home schedule February 6th. That will, likely be senior night. Obviously, that's always open to scheduling and how that'll all play out. But a very cool opportunity for Purdue fans to come see, Olympic gold medalist and future WWE star Gable Steveson of Minnesota. The news recently coming out that he was going to come back, and we get to host him here at Holloway Gym.
Yeah, that's that should be fun. You just kind of mentioned his NIL deal with the WWE, and the noteworthy thing there is with all of the talk about what this could be, especially for mainstream sports. Talking football and basketball. It's my understanding, if you look around the Twitterverse and other places, that he probably had the biggest NIL deal, right? Like, out of any athlete, football, basketball, anyone. So it is kind of fun to see that a wrestler coming off, national championship and then the Olympics had been able to seize and capitalize on that momentum. And that bodes well for the sport for all of our guys. We've got a lot of tremendous wrestlers and competitors. So happy to see that he's back and that, he's kind of created that buzz for that wrestlers can appeal, on that level to companies and other, businesses.
For sure. I don't know if people saw this. I think I said this to you, Corey. Big Ten Network came out with a deal a while back of the most followed student athletes in the Big Ten on Instagram. And not only was Gable Steveson number 1, but 3 of the top 10 student athletes in the conference were wrestlers.
Wow. I think you did show me that. I'd forgotten.
With Spencer Lee at Iowa joining Gable, and Roman Bravo Young out of Penn State was another one that was in the top 10. And so I thought, you think about that, and, like you said, the narrative with NIL is that, football, men's basketball, right? And then you look at something like that, and it's like there's as many wrestlers as there are football players, and there's more wrestlers than there are men's basketball players.
Mm-hmm.
In this conference. And so I would actually be really curious to see what that looks like nationwide as far as other sports. Because I got to imagine, what's his name, that at Oklahoma State's probably got some ridiculous numbers on his social media as well. Ferrari, AJ
Ferrari.
Yeah, he's probably got, because he's played the role and he's got that kind of that personality that's drawn a lot of attention. So, like you said, very cool for wrestling and for wrestlers to see what kind of opportunities are out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Coach said we're still waiting on TV. Big Ten Network should announce the schedule here in the next few weeks. Corey, you probably know more about that than any of us. But rest assured, matches at home that will not be televised will be covered by our main man, C. Palm, in the finest way possible.
Yeah, it's it. I know they're waiting on, as always, waiting on basketball and some of that to shake out, to get that definitely set. And there's some good matches, good matchups, I should say, across the conference. They release not just our schedule, of course, but the entire conference's schedule. You can take a look at some of these weekends and say, okay, if you want to ballpark how many wrestling meets are going to get televised for the season, and then some of the real premier stuff you can look at each weekend and say, okay, this is more likely, this is less likely. We won't get into forecasting. I would say there's only a couple great duels that first weekend. It looks like Minnesota Iowa looks like a really fun duel that I would imagine they'll want to be a part of. But Purdue at Nebraska and Purdue at Iowa are two marquee events that first weekend, and I wouldn't be surprised if you guys got the linear treatment, at least one of those first two road duels.
Yep, no doubt. Like I said, a good schedule, man. I mean, anytime you wrestle Big Ten, right, you're going to see quality opponents, but the goal, right, is to get these guys out on TV and let people see them. We got a great product. We're excited about it. We have a good team, right? 7-8 national qualifiers should be in the lineup. So, it's going to be fun, and we really look forward to it.
One thing, before we move on from schedule, Tony, you mentioned kind of in passing when you were running through just 2 dual events in the entire month of February. Mm-hmm. What do you think on that? I know there's control what you can control, and that's out of your control. But what are your thoughts on that?
If you ask me this, I pause for a second because my thinking on this has probably changed a little bit over the years. If you talked to me 5 years ago, I probably would like to have wrestled a little bit more in February.
And we've seen you go out of conference.
If you talk about the team that we have, the group that we have, right, both in experience and where they're at in their careers, it's not about matches for them, in my opinion, right? Like you've got 2 guys come back. Devin Schroeder, working on a year 6. Max Lyon had a year 5. Those guys have competed a lot and won a lot in their career. And so for them, I kind of like the way it tapers down for us. It's more about keeping sharp, and they don't need the matches, right? The match count from maybe before, in my mind, has gone down. If you look at guys who are doing well, match counts are a bit lower than what they have been in the past. So I'm not too concerned about us having a lighter February. The goal is to be healthy and to be sharp. And I always believe in preparation as a way of sharpening. Some guys need to compete. Let's be honest. Sometimes you got younger guys and they need to compete more to get sharp. All right. But I feel like for this group, like I said, a lot of national qualifiers who have all won matches back and are going to be ranked high and seated high. This is good. It gives us a great opportunity to do a lot of winning, especially early at some of these marquee events and against good opponents. And then, then let's just stay sharp. Let's stay healthy. Let's stay sharp, and be ready rolling into Big Tens in the NCAA tournament.
Absolutely. Speaking of events, let's transition into Tony. You get to you'll be on location for a pretty cool event this weekend. Headed down to Dallas, Texas for FloWrestling's Who's Number One event. Obviously, due to recruiting restrictions and the NCAA and whatnot, we cannot get too specific about individuals or matches that we're excited about. But overall, you got to be pretty excited to go see this in person.
Yeah, going to be awesome. Going to be fun. The card, right, just up and down the lineup, tons of tremendous talent. And then a lot of kids that we're very interested in and have been interested in Purdue as well, right? So just made an event that we couldn't pass up, that we needed to be down there and watching these guys and just continuing to follow them on their journey. So really excited to be able to get down there for the day. It'll be a quick in and out trip. You know what I mean? Going down Saturday, you watch it, and you're back out Sunday morning. But again, when you're this deep on this many kids and you're getting that interest back, we really felt strongly about being in the gym and watching those guys compete.
Absolutely. Pretty cool. I mean, this, Flo's been doing this for a while now. The premise of the event of going out and being able to recruit the top 2 kids in the country at almost every weight and get them to all, come to one location and compete. They're going to put that ranking on the line. They're going to challenge for that top spot in the country. Just the premise of the event, I think is really great for the sport.
Yeah, I think it's what's important that you said is compete and put it on the line. And that's what you love about kids. Kids, I'll say it's out there where in recruiting, some kids will go get a ranking, a number, and then you won't see them as much. They kind of hide, right? They protect the ranking. And for me personally, man, I love kids. You get that number because you've won a lot, but you keep going out there and competing and putting it on the line, competing every time. You love that because that's how it's going to be here. We just spend a lot of time talking about a good schedule and what the Big Ten is. So you want kids who embrace, I want to compete against the best. That doesn't scare me. I'm not worried about the number changing next to my name. I just want to compete and test myself. And we spend a lot of time looking for kids who embrace that idea. Like, I want to be tested. I want to challenge myself. It's going to be good for me. And so that's the exciting thing about this is you're looking at a lot of kids who, hey, we want this challenge. I want that, not, hey, I got a number that I kind of want to protect, that could hurt me. I want to be tested. And so we really love that attitude with these good kids.
Absolutely. Kind of lost my train of thought there. Tony, I know, the good, like you said, quick trip. We're able to find you some direct flights from Indy to Dallas.
Yep.
Get you there nice and fast and ready to watch a night of great wrestling and see some cool people. So
you going by yourself, or is there other members of the staff going?
No, we've got a lot going on this weekend. We've got a lot going on for about the next month between training and just other things, fundraising things, events. So the staff and the team are both going to be busy this weekend. This is me sneaking away to see these guys and families, compete and enjoy it.
Cool.
Again, let's keep it on the subject of great events, as we also just recently wrapped up the 2021 World Team Trials. Those were in Lincoln? Is that right? Did they go back to Lincoln for that?
Yep, absolutely.
So the World Team is set for 2021. We had 4 of our 5 medalists from the Olympics take their spots. Which was great to see. We, sending out some of the world's best once again. But then we added, 4 or 5 more to the list. Was that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. 61, 65, 70, 79, 92, 6. We added 6 new to the world team and notably a few guys that you're very familiar with.
Yeah, I know. Really excited and proud to see 79 kilo with Jordan suits him well. I think a lot of people kind of wondered at his age and going up in weight. And I've been telling people that I really think, the cut had hurt him a little bit, at the, for 74 kilo, and going 79 was going to really suit him well. And man, he was flying around pretty good. It looked like it suited him just fine. And he looked as hungry as ever, So he continues to find ways to motivate himself and stay sharp and dominate the weight class, whatever weight class he's in. So that was tremendous. And then James Green, was very fortunate to spend time around James and coach James while I was at Nebraska as well. And he was back at his more natural weight class of 70 kilo, and he continued to just dominate that with that weight class as well. So really proud to see the 2 Nebraska guys take care of their business and give themselves another chance, at achieving world championships.
Overall, a pretty stacked lineup for the U.S. that they'll send to Norway this fall.
Well, the medalists from the Olympics, sorry to interrupt you there, Tanner.
No, by all means, go.
The medalists from the Olympics, you have that, which was a tremendous event for Team USA. And then what'd you do? You went and you added Jaden Cox, another world champ, multi-medalist, and Wisdowski as well, right? Like he's a medalist. So you added, you had all the Olympic, chatter going on, well-deserved. And then you added those two guys. And then another very tough supporting cast when you think about, Diakama Hollis and some of those guys, right? I mean, a very strong contingent going to the World Championships in Oslo.
Yeah, that'll be pretty cool. Looking forward to that event. Always enjoy some international wrestling. Bringing things kind of back closer to home. The 2021-22 school, Cory talked about we're 4 weeks into the school year. We're also about 4 or 5 weeks into the athletic calendar. And a lot of teams here at Purdue being really successful. Women's soccer's off to a great start. Volleyball is holding a top 10 national ranking. Football team is 2-0. Cross country is off and running. Excuse the pun. But a lot of good vibes around West Lafayette right now.
No, like you said, I'd echo the same thing. Like great start for all of these fall teams. A lot to be excited about. Clearly, we're excited. Like wrestling, you've seen the preseason rankings are starting to come out, and we think we can do really well. Obviously, men's basketball here, super high expectations. So no, just good vibes. And the other thing I would add, and this has been sticking in my head quite a bit lately, we got together, up at Coach Vega's house, for a team retreat of sorts over Labor Day weekend. And I found that to be a tremendous event. It reminds you, of the fun stuff. Winning is fun. Competing is fun, no doubt. But coming off a COVID year where you couldn't even get together, you had to do all your meetings on Zoom and you had to do smaller practices, and you couldn't hardly ever have the whole team at one time, sometimes in the room. It just, to have a more normal summer training schedule. And now what the fall has been for team get-togethers and events mixed in with all of the hard work has been tremendous. And I know the guys feel the same. They're like, this is what makes this fun. This is what makes the hard work worth it, because you're with your teammates and they're sacrificing with you. They're suffering right by your side. And we have a very, very close knit group that really supports each other in a positive way. And so that I just wanted to mention that's been really enjoyable here these first 4 or 5 weeks of school as well. It makes that hard work, worth it when you're next to your guys who you really want to see do well.
Absolutely. We got to attend the opener against Oregon State for Purdue football. Obviously they help us out with some really nice seats, and we had some wonderful guests in tow with us. But we were all there. Pretty amazing to see Ross-Ade Stadium full again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, packed, electric environment. At night. The new video board, right? That, the light show, everything that they did, the environment they created, a lot of fun. And as you said, football did their part. They came out with the W against Oregon State and then followed it up with a beatdown of UConn. So excited about rolling into the Irish here this weekend.
It'd be pretty cool. Unfortunately, Drew Brees retired. Purdue football, great for those that don't know, which I don't know how you don't know, but Matt Ramos, you remember Matt Ramos didn't know on his visit?
That's
Matt
awesome.
Ramos didn't know who Drew Brees was.
I don't remember that, but it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it was wild. Dude knows like all the international wrestlers you can actually think of and throw at him. And we told him, we talked about Drew Brees, and he was like, who? It was hilarious. But
I'm kind of okay with that, actually.
What's that?
I'm okay with that, actually.
Yeah, me too. Like his passion for the sport, right, is awesome. That's why we love him. Like,
No doubt.
he loves the sport. Where he spends his time.
But Drew's now on the NBC team, and he'll be calling the game this weekend with Purdue and Notre Dame on NBC. So that'll be fun to hear a friendly voice on the broadcast there, and hopefully he has some good stuff to talk about.
No doubt.
So Corey, you got anything else this week? Tony, you got anything else?
I do actually. A couple of things. I love all the coaches that I get to work with. And you mentioned soccer. We do the Drew Rolfe show every week, and you mentioned volleyball. We do the Dave Shondell Dig City podcast every week. But one coach I don't get to work with very often, but I still love because he's a loyal listener to the Always Aggressive podcast is head cross country coach John Oliver. He is forever running into me in the hallway and referencing our last show. He sees me this morning. He's like, dude, when's the next podcast coming out? I'm like, well, we're taking it late today. Chill out, J.O. It's okay. Yep. We're going to get you some stuff. He was Team Tanner on the Black album. He thinks I'm insane for going Metallica.
Oh, you had to go back to that.
I know, right? But so thanks to
I also
John.
By the way, I also had Rabo Ninehouse tell me that it was clearly Hoosiers over Field of Dreams.
Okay.
And that you guys are insane.
We'll politely disagree on that one. So shout out to J.O., our biggest fan of the pod, and just keep doing what you're doing out on the cross country course. I think he's insane for running for a living, but he's good at it. He's good at it. Keep doing it.
I still, I'm sure you guys feel this way a little bit, but like, I still find it kind of interesting when people random people bring up the fact that they listen to the show and that they talk about something we talked about on the show. And it's pretty wild. It's awesome that people take that kind of interest in Purdue wrestling and what a few yahoos like us think about that and some of this other random stuff we talk about.
Yeah, no doubt. But it's been great, right? Like, for me, you guys know I'm conservative traditionalist about the sport and stuff. So this was stepping out at first of my comfort zone, but it's been really enjoyable. I enjoy the conversations and they go different places. Clearly we have lots of topics to talk about, but often they go in different directions unintentionally. And I think it's still all good and kind of gives you, different looks at the aspects of the sport and maybe what these kids go through, right? The hard work they put in and how that kind of reflects itself on the mat.
For sure. It's a great sport. No doubt. Like you said, lots to talk about, lots of good stuff to talk about because I think the sport's in as good a place as it's been, in decades. It's just it's going to keep getting a little bit more attention here and there. And before you know it,
I'm really excited to see what kind of resources from a television perspective get thrown into the sport this year and how many duels are going to be televised and whatnot. I think fans are going to be really excited and really pleased with the attention that we're going to get this year. I think it's going to be an awesome year for Big Ten wrestling.
Well, and I think we had mentioned before, but I'll reference it again so people have a little context on it. Is, we were third in the ratings last year. Like people loved it and ate it up, did really well with our broadcasts. And so when we did our April meetings, the Big Ten came in and said, hey, we want to find even more ways that we can build and grow your numbers and your audience. And so you've got a group of people actively trying to figure out, okay, how can we continue to promote or do things together to bring in more viewers, I guess. So that's exciting. When people are like, yeah, we're going to find new ways to help you guys out as well. And they already do a tremendous job.
Absolutely.
And the fun part that I've really enjoyed when you hear from them and they take an active interest and they're excited about what's going on with TV viewership.
Yes, for sure. Couple shout outs. People keep your eyes open. Our friends at the Rudis. We're going to have some gear stores popping up here in the next couple weeks. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We will tweet those out and Facebook those and Instagram and everything else. We'll have that stuff available for people to check out. That was the big one for me.
Got to get that plug.
Absolutely. Thanks
again. Can't wait to see that gear. Love that new RTC gear.
Absolutely. Fans out there, if you guys have anybody you want to see on the show, any guest suggestions, anything like that, you can always drop in the comments and tell us who you want to hear from and who you want to come on and make fun of me, because that's always, that's typically Tony's favorite part.
Never gets old.
There.
Never gets old.
Well, hey, we could say this. We may have to have Sue flown on in the future, because I'll just drop a little plug. My man's out on a bear hunt right now, trying to kill a bear. So that might be of interest. Maybe we have Sue on and get a bear story out of this deal. You know what I mean? So that's the least he can do.
Yeah.
If we're going to give him the time off, we should at least require him to come pay us back with his time to let people know about, what bear hunt was like.
No doubt. And he lined it up well in advance. It's a non-football weekend, right? It's not as busy. I got to go on the road. I got to go do my job, be on the road. But he lined it up. No recruits in this, and he's like, I got to get a bear. So hopefully he's off taking care of that, and he'll have a good story for us when he returns this weekend.
But be honest, Soup's not working that hard when he is in the office. So you might as well give him the time off. No,
well, I got to keep him down in the wrestling room rolling with the guys, right? So that's his job. Get down there and get in the room with the boys.
That's what the youngins are for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. Yeah, I can't wait to hear the bear stories. The one that got away.
Yeah, let's hope that's not the case. I hope he has pictures. I need photographic evidence.
Yeah.
Speaking of honey, did you see the
off track?
Did you see the bowl that Bjorn Schroeder got?
That's what I was just gonna say.
No.
Those people go on. Bjorn Schroeder obviously graduated last year, has a great job back out. He got a big old bowl. Or he did a great job, with the camera angle. But that sucker looks huge. So maybe we can find that in the future. If Jake gets a bear and he's got a photograph, we could ask Bjorn to supply us the photograph, and we can compare and contrast, bull elk or bear. What's your favorite? So, and then people love that. He's up in Alaska killing everything. So I don't know.
I don't know where we could go from there. So we're going to leave it there. Fellas,
you're going to end on that comment? Really,
trip.
That's where you're going to end?
That's it. We're killing everything in Alaska. What do we?
You got some cookies and bubbles for us to finish on there, Ersland?
Yeah, that wasn't exactly a cookies and bubbles ending, was it? But
no,
but I promise you I can connect the dots. He's been fishing and hunting as a guide, so he's a good follow. That's why I think of it, right? I think of these guys off doing their outdoor adventures, and nobody has better outdoor adventures than Pat Kissel. So shout out to him.
I love him. He's making a living doing what he loves. Can't beat it.
Absolutely.
Fellas, have a great weekend. Tony, have a safe trip. We'll catch y'all next time on the Always Aggressive Podcast. Boiler up.